I was already standing in the hotel lobby when the text came through. "Aren't you coming up?" She sent it with a photo. 2 drinks on a balcony, one hand I didn't recognize resting on the table. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. 3 hours earlier, she'd kissed my cheek and said she needed space to think. The trip was my idea, my card, my points. I told her distance can heal fractures. I believed that once. I replied with one word: understood. I didn't go upstairs. I sat in the lobby, watching the elevators open and close, and felt the last soft part of me harden. We weren't always like this. We were built slowly, brick by brick. Late nights, shared bills, shared dreams. I raised her child as my own when his biological father disappeared into excuses and silence. I was there for school meetings, for fevers, for scraped knees. She used to say, "You're the only real dad he knows." I believed that too. I paid for this trip because she said she felt trapped, because she said she needed to remember who she was before responsibilities. I thought love meant giving without counting. What I didn't know was that she'd been counting something else. The clues had been whispering for weeks. Calls taken in another room, a name saved without a photo. "Old friend," she said. I didn't push. Trust isn't loud. The confirmation came from the hotel concierge. He smiled politely and asked if I wanted a key for all 3 guests. All 3. I asked for the name on the 3rd reservation. She had added him after we checked in. Her son's biological father. The man who vanished when things got hard. The man who suddenly reappeared when there was a vacation with an ocean view and no bills attached. That's when the pain shifted. Pain can paralyze you, or it can sharpen you. Mine sharpened. I didn't confront her. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I went back to my room and opened my laptop. Silence is powerful when you know where to aim it. I reviewed accounts, joint cards, travel limits, trusts, the education fund I had quietly set up, the business I ran that paid for everything while she found herself. I remembered every conversation where she said, "You handle the finances. I trust you." Good. I documented everything. Screenshots, receipts, reservation changes, messages. I let the evidence stack neatly, like dominoes waiting for a breath. Then I made one call. My lawyer didn't ask many questions. He never does when my voice sounds like that. The next morning she came down glowing, sun-kissed, lighter. He walked behind her carrying bags I'd paid for, wearing confidence he hadn't earned. She introduced him like this was normal. "This is, well, you know." I nodded. Of course I knew. I smiled, calm, polite, deadly. At noon, the first card declined. At 1, the hotel called about the room charges. By 2, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications, alerts, confusion turning into panic. I watched it all from the pool bar, untouched drink sweating in front of me. She finally approached, eyes sharp with accusation. "Did you do something?" I met her gaze. I reorganized my responsibilities. She laughed at first, nervous, disbelieving. Then her son came down asking why his game subscription wasn't working, why his tablet said payment failed. That's when the color drained from her face. I didn't raise my voice. I never do when I'm in control. "I paid for a family," I said, "not a reunion tour." The man beside her shifted. He suddenly remembered he had no wallet, no backup, no authority here. I stood, left cash for my drink. "I'll be checking out." The fallout was spectacular in its quietness. The hotel evicted them by evening. Flights canceled, cards frozen, the education fund transferred into a trust she couldn't touch. My lawyer filed first. Custody discussions reopened with evidence she didn't know existed. She sent messages, long ones, apologies wrapped in blame, explanations stitched with regret. I didn't respond. The real dad disappeared again when the comfort vanished. He always did. Some patterns don't need analysis. They repeat themselves. Weeks later, she sat across from me in the conference room, smaller, tired, no makeup, no confidence. She said my name like it was a question. I answered calmly. You replaced me on a trip I paid for. I replaced you in a life I built. Her eyes filled. Mine didn't. I slid the final document across the table. Terms were fair, cold, final. This isn't revenge, I said. It's correction. Now, when I think back to that lobby, the elevators opening and closing, I understand something I didn't then. Betrayal doesn't end you. It introduces you to the version of yourself who stops begging to be chosen. I didn't lose a wife. I gained clarity, and that's expensive. Just not for me anymore.